Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to do our first creator request in quite some time, which is where a band contacts me and specifically asks me to check out their music. Today, we're going to be looking at a group called Catch Your Breath. They emailed me and said, "Hey, I hope you've been doing well. We're Catch Your Breath from Austin, Texas. We have a new music video dropping on the 30th. Yeah, that was December 30th, just to let you guys know how far behind I am on these requests. A little info on the song. It's a deeply emotional alt-rock song that's super personal to the vocalist and guitarist, Josh and Teddy, respectively. It's about being with someone that gives all of the signs that something is wrong, but when you talk to them, they say everything is fine and it's in your head. You trust their word over the red flags." So we have a song about gaslighting called Shame on Me. Pretty accurate. Alright, let's dive into this and see what's going on. This is Catch Your Breath, Shame on Me.
If I close my eyes, I can see the home you built inside my mind, and I let it.
Alright, we've translated that opening melody into the guitar for this section.
Did you write me off? Did I care too much? Can we call this love? Are we too far gone? Have we had
I really like that synthesizer idea.
like you? To go and sugarcoat the truth. I see it on your lips, your midnight trips. What's going on? Tell me now. Tell me how. I'm breaking down your.
Alright, a little bit of syncopation there.
If I close my eyes, I can see the home you built inside.
So we started off with the chorus, we just had a variation on it.
And I let it come to life. Planted down roots where there was one to spot.
There's this like grinding sound. I have no idea where it's coming from.
Shame on me.
I think it's digital.
Shame on me.
Yeah, a nice little post-chorus idea.
Behind your eyes, are you listening at all? 'Cause if I can't get through, I'm stuck like you. I can't move on. I try and try, but if I close my eyes,
Alright, so we had a different verse 2 than our verse 1.
built inside my mind.
A bit shorter, leads us right in though, lyrically.
Come to life.
Based on call and response.
Planted down roots where there was one to spot. Shame on me.
That grinding sound almost sounds like the attack on the bass kick, and I wonder if that's just really fast bass kick playing.
If I close my eyes, I can see the home you built inside my mind, and I let it come to life. Planted down
The
roots
bridge was just, oh man. Did you hear that high note there in the backing vocals? Really great way to end that. Alright. Yeah, pretty good song right there. It follows a lot of the standard tropes of the genre, which, like I said in the past, not a good thing or a bad thing. It's a tool in the toolbox, and it firmly plants this group in a why can't I think of iterative style, really leaning into what this genre does best and refining it. And through that, we see a lot of these ideas really pushed to their limits, done extremely well. The production on this is very clean. Everything about this is just done at a very high level, which is important for an iterative band as they're really refining a specific sound. Um, so I really enjoy this though. So something I've talked about a lot in the past is repetition. Right? I'm not somebody who's a big fan of obscene amounts of repetition or even mild amounts of repetition at times. So we have our chorus starting the song, pretty typical for modern popular styles of music. So our song, if we are going to retain the typical structure naming, verses gets A, choruses get B, that's typically just because the verse comes first, but we're going to keep it. So our structure is B, A, B, A, B, C, B. We end up having 4 choruses in this track. That is a lot of times to be telling me the same exact thing. I'm really happy then that our opening and closing choruses have variations on them. Our opening is a very stripped down version, pretty much just the vocals, and I think it is just the last half of it lyrically. We'll have to get into that later when I check out the lyrics, but I think it's only half of the chorus. Our final chorus also has some musical breaks in it that change up the style and feel of it while also presenting some background vocals to augment what's going on. Variation, man, that's what I'm talking about. All right, keep things fresh. If you're going to do the same thing to me 4 times, change things up a little bit. Even just one little idea is going to help it stay a little fresher. As long as it doesn't overtake your core hook, which is obviously the reason you're presenting it so many times, is to get it stuck in someone's head, right? And I think these guys do it very well, laying down the melody in all 4 sections, allowing it to get stuck in the listener's head if they enjoy it, and creating ambiance or textures or embellishing ideas around it to differentiate the sections rather than changing up the core melody, which would remove the purpose of returning to the hook so often. So yeah, just really great idea there. And this even gets extended a little further in that our second verse is different from our first verse. So yeah, there's just a lot of variety and really great writing in here of keeping the song, despite following a similar song structure to most music in the genre, allowing the song to breathe and do unique things without being constrained down to the 2 ideas that a lot of them are constrained by, a verse and a chorus. They find ways to extrapolate on both of those ideas and keep the song moving forward and exploring new contexts within what they're already doing. So what are they doing? A lot of this song, we see it in the chorus. The main chorus is not our intro chorus. Like I said, that's stripped down. And our second verse, we have our bass laying down a bass line. From what I heard, just a single note, playing something probably around the root of the chord and dancing around rhythmically with some of the stuff the drummer is doing. Our guitarist is laying down these super wide chords. Not that the chords are wide, the production is wide. It's a very big sound. It fills up the entire song. I don't know if there's 2 guitars or not. There might be, but I only hear one unified sound. So it might be double tracked or just given a lot of width to it in the production to fill the space out. And so we get this really powerful foundational element between these 2 guitars, and then our drummer is really laying down a moving but not too intricately technical drumming idea. Everything about this works very well at supporting what the band, I believe, is intentionally putting in the spotlight, which is the vocals. And I will say that the vocals are pretty catchy. Some of the melodies, specifically the chorus, in fact, I think the chorus is the only one, feels very typical. We have our major points, bum, 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 and then we have a little idea, da 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 da, bum, 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 right? It's very, it's very typical melody writing for popular music, but it's typical for a reason, right? If it works, don't break it. If it works, I don't know. If it works, don't fix it. What is that phrase, and why can't I think of it? Anyways, the reason it works is because we have these really powerful moments, which are our keynotes. They're the ones, the most powerful notes in our chord progression. And we can see as these move with our chords, we can really see how the chords are shaping the phrase itself. And then we have little transitional ideas that help drive and push the melody forward before you land on the power notes again. All right. It's like I said, tried and true right there. There's no shame in there's no shame in utilizing stuff that already works, because I mean it works for a reason. People have done this for a long time. Um, so yeah, pretty typical melody writing there, but again, not to the detriment. It's actually to the benefit of the song, because one, it makes it catchier, it's something we've heard a lot before, and two, it's used a lot because it works. It's a very powerful way to write a melody. Um, and so this is what we see in most of the song, is this foundational element of the instruments that exist to create either atmosphere or chord progression, as well as driving the rhythm for the vocalist to sing over and be in the spotlight for. There is one time that this doesn't happen though. Two times actually, the bridge and the first verse. I want to touch on the first verse first, and then we'll hit the bridge. The first verse is interesting. It's mostly bass and drum, and there is a idea that sits elsewhere. It might be the guitar now that I think about it, but I originally mentioned it's a synthesizer or some sort of digital instrument. But it's an interesting idea because it's these series of notes that kind of have a bit of space between them. It's like bum, 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 and it feels kind of random in our grouping, the phrasing itself. Sometimes we get two notes, sometimes we get one, sometimes the distance between our pockets are longer and shorter. It's definitely something I would listen specifically for on a second listen, is trying to make sense of this idea now that I know it's there and I should be listening for it. It's interesting because it's all ornamental, of course, right? It's not really creating a flow of melody. It sort of embellishes on and adds dyads in some places and contrasting ideas in other places to our melody line and our vocals. It's a really nice way of creating this section to have a bit of brightness and almost sparkle to it, and that's kind of what it feels like. It's the glitter that's happening against the rest of the song. We don't see this in verse 2 though. The guitar comes in real strong with an electric guitar tone. It's not like a stripped down section. It's got more punch to it. It's more rock style. And so yeah, I don't think that this little sparkling idea happens at all in the second one. If it does, it's completely overshadowed by the guitar coming back in, or coming in at all. So that's really interesting that they kind of went for that ornamental idea there. I like it. I think it's great contrast to the large moment that we get into in the chorus, and it provides strong contrast to our second verse. I'm kind of hoping to have this duality in the lyrics. We already know the song is about gaslighting, and possibly verse 1 is going to be about the positives of the relationship, whereas verse 2 is questioning it. I'm really hoping to see that in the lyrics so that it can line up with what the music is doing. The bridge though, this is important because it does the same thing that our intro and verse 1 did by stripping the song down to some bare bones ideas and really getting a bit more intimate. Our vocalist feels isolated in this section. The instrumentation is sparse. I really liked what they were doing, especially again as it provides contrast to the larger moments that bookend it, the chorus and the chorus. Unfortunately, though, it feels just a bit too short. By the time we've gotten into it and I've really started to suss out what's going on here, it's already moved on. We don't really have time to sit in this vulnerability. And, maybe the lyrics will explain that, but as it stood in the song, I really felt like we moved out of it too quickly. One of the things I love about bridges in traditional rock songs, or anything that's going to follow a more traditional popular structure like this, is that the bridge allows the band to explore a new sound. Not a lot of bands will go out of their way to create two vastly different ideas between their verses. And here, like I said, we had a bit of a different idea. I think the bass and the drums were doing something similar in both of our verses, but our guitar was doing something vastly different, and the feeling of both of them was different. One was a bit more sparse, laid back, and our second verse was a bit more driving. But usually, most bands won't do that. Your verses are going to sound the same. Your choruses are going to sound the same. So you have a verse, you have a chorus, you have two ideas, and you're going to finish the song on a chorus. Well, the bridge gives you that moment to explore a new idea. And this is something that I really love about older metal, is that a lot of them really explored these bridge sections. I know it's a bit of a longer song. It's an epic, so it kind of feels like cheating with this. Maybe it's not like a super long epic now that I think about it, but Metallica's One is in my mind because I just read something about it. But we have our verse and our chorus. We have a couple of interludes in there as well. But when you get to the bridge, it is a completely new flavor for the song, and we very thoroughly explore it. Right? We spend a lot of time in this new section, and we really get to see how it expands into its own little pocket song as well. And I understand we're comparing a 3.5 minute track to like a 9 minute track or something like that. I don't know how long one is. But that's kind of the vibe there, is that I wish there was more exploration of this bridge. And now that I'm talking about it though, and I'm saying these things out loud, I'm like, is this really fair? Because music like this, I feel, is often done, it's a compromise between vision and functionality, right? Especially when you're talking about singles, right? The purpose of a single is to get somebody interested in the band. It's to showcase your work in hopefully the most concise way you can, right? You want to hook people in, show them what you're about, and let them move on with your life before they have moved on prior to your song ending. I think there's a reason that we continue to see more and more music reach shorter play times. Even ads are getting shorter. YouTube videos are getting shorter. Everything is shortening down. We have YouTube Shorts now because apparently 5 minutes is too long for someone to spend on a video, and you have to go towards less than 60 seconds. I mean, look at TikTok. I think TikTok also has the same limitation. So like, I totally understand that making a longer song and expanding the bridge into something interesting, especially if we're exploring a new lyrical aspect here, which I think we are. Like I said, it's a very vulnerable section of the song. I would really love to further explore it. And maybe when we get into the lyrics, we'll be like, oh, they covered everything. It made sense to get out at that time, but I would really have loved to explore this section just a little bit longer because it feels so short. We just got introduced to it and it's gone. But the more, like I said, the more I say it, the more I'm realizing that is more of a personal bias. I'm exploring this from the angle of art. I'm exploring this song as a storytelling device, musically and lyrically, primarily musically right now though. And that might not be why the song was created. Right? It might have been designed to be shorter, get us out of that as soon as possible so we can return to the chorus, get the hook back in, and wrap the song up before people click off to something else. And it's a shame, it really is, but there is a very stark reality there that not all music can be for art's sake, especially if you're trying to live off of it. Obviously, if you're trying to make a living off of music, it has to either have you either have to have some really awesome patrons who are going to pay for it, which is how art flourished in like the Renaissance period. You didn't really buy art. Actually, even art today, a lot of it is about patrons, about people, commissioning for your work. Nobody's really going to commission for music though, so it's really all about ads and tickets and merch, and that all requires a fan base. So there's business aspects that go into making, especially popular rock music, or popular adjacent rock music in that genre, right? And it's something that I'm trying to make myself reconsider here. That artistically, I do wish the bridge was longer, but I can appreciate now that I've talked my way through it that maybe it just wasn't an option for this specific track. But yeah, that was my big criticism after listening to it. Was I think I even had like a facial reaction of disappointment. I think I mentioned something about it feeling a bit short. That was really my big downer part on the song. Everything else really comes through. I love the variety in it. I love how each of the sections feels a little unique. We do have our second and third chorus being identical, but there are some variations in the other two. And our verses have some variations. So there's a lot of stuff that I love in here. It's catchy, it's bouncy. You know, I nodded along to it in a few places. It is a really well done song that I just wish the bridge was a bit longer in. Let's get into some lyrics. I'm hoping that they're not posted there. A lot of these smaller bands will put their lyrics in the description because usually they're hard to find on lyric sites. All right, I'm going to pause the video real quick. You guys give me a second. When I come back, I'll have the lyrics. I just don't know how long it's going to take me. Hey, I found them. All right. So if I close my eyes, can I see the home you built inside my mind and I let it? That's our intro. And I was wrong. It is half of the chorus, but it's the first line of the chorus, not the latter half. So verse 1 comes in. Did you write me off? Did I care too much? Can we call this love? Are we too far gone? Have we had enough? You know it's not like you to go and sugarcoat the truth. I see it on your lips, your midnight trips. What's going on? So yeah, pretty straightforward right here. This person has either been told or has recognized that the relationship is not where it once was. And he asks, what's going on with this? Did I just care too much? Do you not care anymore? Are you writing me off? Can the relationship be repaired? Which says, are we too far gone? Which is interesting knowing what the song is about. It says, it's not like you to sugarcoat the truth. I can see it on your midnight, or you see it on your lips with your midnight trips. So there's possibly some infidelity going on, and he called him out on it. And they're like, no, 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 no. This is where the gaslighting begins. I didn't go out with anyone else. I just, did this or did that, right? Doing lies and doing lies, telling lies, and trying to cover up their indiscretions. We get into the pre-chorus. Tell me now, I'm breaking down, and you're. Oh, tell me now, tell me how I'm breaking down, and you're just fine. There's the gaslighting thing, right? But it's an acknowledgement of I see through your lies. You're gonna tell me that you're great. You're gonna tell me that I'm the one who's worrying for no reason. Tell me how you're gonna do that again, right? I'm calling you out on this. If I close my eyes, I can see the home you built inside my mind, and I let it come to life. Let it set down roots where there once was a spine. So yeah, I mean that's a really great way to talk about how someone can. We use the phrase "getting into my mind," "get out of my head," right? Those kind of ideas about letting someone mess with your perception of reality. And that's exactly what he said. Said, you set a home inside of my mind. You built it there. And it comes to life and it sets down roots and I can hear your voice. What I get out of that is I let it come to life. It's like I can hear your voice in my mind with your thoughts kind of vibe, right? Having them repeat to you that you're the insecure one. You're the one going crazy. You're the one who doesn't understand the situation. And they're basically letting the gaslighting create mental abuse within the person. Like they don't even need the other person to abuse them anymore. It's internal. They've internalized it. Really great way to go about doing that. And then it even says that it sets down roots where there once was a spine. And it says shame on me, which is really interesting because to me it reads in two ways. One, we have like literally shame on me for letting myself get to this point, but also the idea that they are the problem, right? Shame on you for thinking that I would be going out and trying to ruin this relationship kind of vibe. So yeah, it's both like that negative thought or the other person telling them, you're the one that's wrong in this situation. Shame on you for doing that. It's that negativity, the gaslighting, but it's also a bit of a condemnation of the self of like, I can't believe I let that happen. Shame on me. It won't happen again. Verse 2, behind your wall. Oh, this was the call and response, which I forgot to talk about. There was a couple of moments here where we had two vocals doing call and response. I think our final chorus did this as a ornamental idea as well. Behind your walls, are you listening at all? Because if I can't get through, I'm stuck like you. I can't move on. I try and try, but if I close my eyes, we go back to the chorus. Yeah, I mean, once again, basically says that the other person is stuck in their life. They've put their own walls up. Maybe they've even shut themselves off to the relationship and are just using it in a controlling kind of manner, right? That they're not even emotionally engaged in this relationship anymore. And it says, you're behind your walls. Are you even listening to me? He says, if I can't get through, then I'm stuck like you and I can't move on. It's interesting. Recognizes the hurdles they have to go through and that it's difficult to get through them. Says I try and try and try, but I close my eyes and I still see the home there, which I think is going to be a persistent thing. Even expanding outside the ideas of this song, there's going to be emotional damage done there, mental damage, where I think this person's going to have a hard time trusting anyone again. Even if they move on through life, they can still hear the other person's voice telling them that they're the one who are wrong or broken. Even in future relationships, like that is going to be that's going to be something they have to get over, and it's not going to be easy. It's going to be there even past this relationship, right? There's definitely trauma that's going to be there from being gaslit for who knows how many years. We go to our we go to our bridge. I'm sorry. Oh man, we go to our bridge. You run away when you just can't face it. Hide in the dark, but you know you hate it. Made me believe in a life you didn't want. Shame on me. So yeah, this is just the condemnation section. Calling them out, right? I'm not the one who's broken. You're the one who runs away. You're the one who hides in the dark. You're the one who forced me to believe in a reality that isn't real. You're the one who lied to me. I'm not the one with the problems. You are. Which is interesting because the music of this section does not fit the themes here, which is coming to terms with and confronting your abuser. And musically, this is very quiet and subdued and very pensive, very vulnerable. But lyrically, it's very strong. We have a clash of ideas here. That doesn't mean that it's the wrong way to have gone about that. I'm just a real big fan of cohesion, having your themes support each other to further increase the impact of the section. I think if this moment would have been larger, it would have felt triumphant. So we don't just have the lyrics saying, "Hey, I've grown out of this, right? I'm a bigger person. I understand what I want out of relationships, and maybe in the future I won't fall for these anymore. I'll see the flags and move on. I am done with this. I'm confronting you. I have grown the spine that I said I lost in the chorus." And our music is just like, it's still kind of it lacks that presence. It lacks that control. A lot of this is about control. He feels like he doesn't have control of his mind. He doesn't have control of his spine. He doesn't have control of his life. He's been told to believe in something that isn't real. He's taking back control, but the music belies that. So it could also be that this is a front of our narrator, and that the music is telling us that he's actually not changing, or he's not confronting his demons, or confronting his abuser, or anything like that. Maybe that's what's going on here, because then we move into the chorus and we're back to this idea of, if I close my eyes, I can see the home you built inside my mind. So maybe this isn't the big triumphant moment. Maybe this is just another piece of this distorted reality. He feels like he's confronted him, and maybe this other person said, okay, you're right. Let's start over fresh, and I won't do this ever again. And of course, they got their fingers crossed behind their back. They're an abuser. They're not going to change. Not just from being called out anyways. And maybe they're going to try to make the relationship work, and the person's going to go back into it, and the song's going to start over again, being caught in a loop of gaslighting. I don't know. I think that could go either way. That you could definitely take an artistic edge and say, oh, the bridge is is meaningful because the music is telling the truth of the situation where the lyrics aren't. And the final chorus kind of fits that, but also the final chorus is the final chorus because that's the way that the song goes. A B A B C B. You end the song on a chorus. That's just typical structure. Now, the final chorus could come back with different lyrics to prove that they've moved on out of this bridge. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways to look at it. I wasn't in the writing room. I don't know what led to some of these decisions, but I'm just saying what I'm hearing, right? The bridge has a thematic clash, and the final chorus could or could not affirm what this clash is supposed to mean artistically. And I could see it going either way, where it can be defended or it could be just an aspect of songwriting that was not done in that's more function over form, where it was done because that's how the song is structured, rather than because that's what the song needed storytelling wise. And again, I'm coming at this from an artistic angle rather than possibly a business angle as well, and just trying to create a song that draws in a lot of people. Again, there's no right way to make music, and I really don't want anyone to walk away from this thinking that I'm casting a negative view on this group because they might have crafted portions of the song in order to draw an audience. You have to do that if you want to grow, right? There's only so many situations where you can say, forget growth, forget what people want. I'm making music for myself. Usually when you do that, money's not an issue because it's really difficult to grow if you're not going to follow where the audience is. And I am sadly in that boat as well. I make a very niche style of videos on YouTube. I don't have a lot of growth here, not like other reaction channels do, at least. And it's because I do these videos for a very specific reason, and money and growth are not necessarily the purpose of them. There is a little bit of decision making in that realm, but mostly it's for the music and the art of it all. I don't know, even this one, right? I don't know how big of a band Catch Your Breath is, but, they're an up and coming band, right? So, people are not going to be searching for Catch Your Breath reactions in the same capacity they're going to be looking for Metallica reactions or Tool reactions, right? And that's nothing, that's no shade thrown towards Catch Your Breath. They're just a new band. They still have to grow their audience. There might be a point in 5 years when people are looking for Catch Your Breath reactions and they're going to find this one and be like, no way, checked them out when they were new. But like right now, they just don't have that audience. So I'm not making this to grow an audience. I'm not making this because it's going to get a lot of views. I'm making this video, one, because I think it helps these bands. I've had a lot of comments say, hey, thanks for your comments about our music, and we're going to take some of this to heart, and we agree with you on some of this, right? I believe that it is a type of feedback to let bands know that they're going in the right direction, and that, at least for me personally as a listener, and possibly as a fellow composer, that there's some things I might have tweaked on my own, but understand that, people have different tastes in both composition and listening. So, don't always take everything I say at face value. Take it with a grain of salt because I'm still just a listener. I have my own biases. I'm human. But I also do it to present new music to my audience. A lot of comments I get is, hey, I've never heard this band before. It's my new favorite band. I went and checked out all their music. And in the case of these smaller groups, it's a way to help promote them to a new audience. So, a lot of it is about the art itself, the music appreciation, music, spreading awareness of new music coming out, and all that. It's not about the money. So, I totally understand being in both camps. Like, there's definitely business decisions to be made with growth. So yeah, like I said, I don't want anyone to walk away from this thinking that Catch Your Breath is just trying to make simple music to catch people's ears. No, they have an interesting twist on the style, and you have to make caveats in your music creating, especially when you're new, a young band, to get more of an audience, to get a larger audience. You're going to have to sort of make some caveats to your vision. It's just a part of growth. There's a reason that most bands don't hit their stride until 3-4 albums in. That's when they've hit the point when they have the financial backing to say, screw it, we're going to do what we want, right? So I think it's important just to keep that in mind sometimes when we're looking at some of this music that fits closer to popular mainstream styles. All right, those are my thoughts on Catch Your Breath's Shame on Me. I think this is the longest video I've made for a creator request in a long time, maybe if ever. Hit me up with your comments. Let me know what you thought of this track. If there's anything that stood out to you that I didn't touch on, or anything you'd like to agree or disagree with me on, anything like that, let me know. Above the comment section is a description box. In there will be a bunch of links for Catch Your Breath, including a link to this video if you wanted to check out anything else that they have, or pick up their merch, or follow them on social media so you can keep up with them. Just all their links will be there. All right. As for this channel, we don't have an album reaction tomorrow. Sunday we'll have our patron live stream, and then Monday we'll be back at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC with our next week's theme. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch your video. Whenever you choose to do anything, I guess, because I can't do my own sign off. See you guys later. Oh, it probably helps if the right button's pushed. See you guys later.